And we're going to take a moment here to switch guests, and of course now Riggs Eckelberry joins me. He's the CEO of Origin Oil Incorporated, OOIL is the stock symbol. Riggs, good to see you again.
I've just got a minute, Don.
Well, you know, we were joking before going on the air here. I'm not going to call you Riggs anymore. I'm going to call you Mr. Media. I mean, you have become the darling of media in New York and business talk shows all over the country. Tell us what's going on.
Sure enough, I mean, we did a tour of D.C. and New York last week, and of course D.C. is a crazy place right now. I think we discussed it last time. And then New York, of course, we ended up on CNN primetime and taped a piece for CNBC that will be on the website this week, we hope. Right. Overall, there's this tremendous excitement growing about algae as the third-generation biofuel. The first two were learning experiences, shall we say. First one, forget it. That was about food. Food. The second one is not food, but it's still a lot of land and water issues.
Right.
The third one, of course, happy with nasty water, doesn't need a lot of land, and it's not a food. So that's, of course, algae. Well,
when you were in New York last week, of course, we spoke to you by phone, and you provided us some beautiful footage of your laboratory and the lights going around in a circle, and that essentially is the cultivation of algae that we're seeing like a prototype, basically, of that, correct?
The core challenge is how do you get the growth engine going? Everybody knows what to do with algae once it's grown. That's pretty simple. You can crack it, you can gasify it, all that good stuff. But you got to get the growth engine going, and until you've done that, then the rest of it's kind of academic.
Now, you mentioned being in Washington, D.C. last week, and of course you can't drive down the street in D.C. right now without seeing people in $1,500 suits holding signs saying, "We'll spend your stimulus money." I would assume that with President Obama's dedication towards alternative energy sources, you've got to be in that mix too.
Well, there's a long list of items that we would be part of, and our lobbying organization, the ABO, is on the Hill lobbying. That's the Algae Biomass organization that Boeing organized, among others. For us, it's really about getting the technology right. And so we have this Department of Energy relationship that we're building, and in fact, we're doing very well, and we'll soon have a midterm report. And then there's a number of university relationships we're putting in place to really become the technology hub for this algae industry that's growing.
And I guess if someone were going to try to create an analogy or a comparison, I mean, we're really with algae as a biofuel source, you know, where oil was when someone first started noticing it coming out of the ground.
Yeah, and back then it was almost a nuisance. And we're moving from, you know, pond scum to maybe it's a viable energy source, and it's a big change. Thinking through the applications and the carbon credit issues, which are a big source of the revenue, it looks like. All these things, and actually commercializing is where the rubber meets the road right now, and that's what we're working on.
Origin Oil, OOIL, is the stock symbol. For more information, please give us a call, 888-259-4449. Riggs, as always, thanks so much.
Thanks again, Don.